Ready? I almost forgot this. I had it all put together. Had all the pictures on top of the video, Joe telling the story. And I was about to upload it to YouTube. And remembered to shout out. I'm having a good day. It's been a crazy week. So, ready? Here we go. Shout out time. Here's a shout out just for you. You support me, so I support you. This shout out is for our friend, Johnny Small Pepper. I almost said pickle. Sorry. Johnny Small Pepper. And it says, about me, scallywag, troublemaker, known instigator. I do not seek approval or agreement. Me either. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. Life will go on. And it also says at the very bottom of his about page, my name is not Johnny. Well, I apologize. You put it in there. So that's what I'm calling you. Unless you want me to call you Pepper. I can do that. Let me know. Anyway, Johnny has a fairly big channel. Very interesting channel. Lots of videos. So check him out. Like, share, comment. Let him know that we sent you by. Have a good day. All right, Joe, what are you going to tell us?
Well, today we're going to go all the way back to the beginning.
Uh-oh.
Before dinosaurs and when cavemen were clicking rocks together to try to make fire.
Ooh, fire.
We're going to talk about the origins of Sue Bud. Now, into perspective.
Oh, my hand's in the way. She does not exist.
She does not exist. At the time, it was Sue James. Sue Bud came along a year later. We start back in 1999. Yes, it seems like a whole long time ago because yes, it actually was in a whole nother century. But what wound up happening, I had gotten done playing in the world of fast food and I was tired of it. I was tired of smelling like French fries. I was tired of having people yell because their burger wasn't done right. I was tired of trying to make orders match. And I was tired of managers who like to treat employees like garbage. So, about 3 months after leaving a fast food place that was called, of all things, Bullets, I took a hint from my brother, who was working at a call center here in Rapid City, a place called Spiegel. You might know it as a catalog company, which does clothing of several companies. In their height of their vast catalog empire, they also had Eddie Bauer, Clifford and Wills, several other names. Yeah, Newport News. And so I took a shot at it. I applied in December, and I got in the first week of January to start training. Training was pretty crazy. It was a full month to get us prepped, get us understanding of how their computer systems worked.
I don't remember any of this.
I know.
I went through it, but I don't remember.
You don't remember a single thing of this.
Nope.
And then they ceremoniously or unceremoniously dumped us onto the floor. Now, interestingly enough, our had 4 men. I had a Regina Jones, who is way on the far side, and they like to stick us way over here in what we affectionately called Westworld, because we were so far out, the robots could have attacked us before the managers would have noticed what was happening.
Probably.
In fact, one time I actually had lightning strike outside my window. No real surprise there. It actually shut down the power to the building.
Joe attracts electricity. He's been hit almost a dozen times.
Yeah. Needless to say, don't stand around. Well, you can stand around me because guess what? You'll be safe. I'll be bacon. But interestingly enough, I ran into Sue's mom and dad before I actually met Sue.
Because, yes, we worked there as a family. My mom, my dad, and my sister, and I all worked at the same place. Mm-hmm. Because.
And me and my brother both worked there, too. I knew Brenda because, I am a social butterfly, and I run into everybody, eventually. And I would talk to Larry about chess, which, was a game that we both enjoyed, still do. And then one day I was cutting through the lunchroom, and I saw this one lady who was sitting there reading a book.
I think it was Star Wars, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm. And then I walked into a wall.
Yeah, he walked into a wall because he's the
Thump.
bright bulb.
They do. And so I struck up a small conversation. You know,
I don't even remember what we talked about. I think it was books, but I don't remember.
I think it was books. And then what also got funny was eventually I talked her into a date. And it was funny because we were going to go to Denny's. We went to Denny's. We never got out of the car.
No.
We just sat and talked for almost an hour.
It was a terrible date. No,
Terrible date. It was horrible. You know, one of those low-calorie dates you don't have to worry about. But then, you know, later on we'd take and do things like we went up to Keystone a couple times.
Oh, well, no, we have to tell them about the second date. When we went to Red Lobster.
Oh, okay. The Red Lobster is now immortalized to any waitress or waiter who works at Red Lobster.
Or any place that has coleslaw.
Right. Okay. We both were going to go see a movie that night. We were going to go see Titan AE. Great movie. Bombed at the box office, which I felt was a horrible rip because it was a cool movie. Loved the special effects. Don Bluth was great. But anyway, we went to Red Lobster. And it got so funny trying to get sides for our dinner because, you know...
They were out of everything.
You know, I was like, well, can I get some applesauce? They come back, we're out of applesauce. Would you like some coleslaw? How about some hash browns? Oh, hang on. Oh, we're out of hash browns. Would you like some coleslaw? Do you have any lettuce?
Corn.
I'll just take us out some corn.
I remember you tried corn, and they're like, no, we're out of corn.
Would you like some coleslaw?
We ended up with, what was it, like 6 little bowls of coleslaw. Because it was so hilarious.
They brought the coleslaw. They brought our meals in. It had coleslaw. And I'm like, they're trying to get rid of a crate in the back room. They're just laughing at us now.
I think it was expiring, and they were just trying to get everybody to take coleslaw, because we had so much coleslaw.
You want the coleslaw.
Whether you want it or not, you are getting the coleslaw.
Cisco Foods recommends the coleslaw tonight, folks. It's National Coleslaw Month, something like that. But it kept, you know, going on to that effect. And so then afterwards, you know, we went and saw Titan AE, which was, I felt was a good movie. It was fun. And then there was a couple times. One thing that I remember when I talked to Brenda about Sue had contemplations of going back to Utah. And I was like, well, then that means I have one of two options. Either I can try to convince her to stay, or I enjoy the short time we have together. And so I went for the former option. So, you know, when I would have a chance and had some extra spending money, we would take and, you know, go play tourist up in the hills. One time we went to Keystone, and over ice cream we talked about the idea of getting hitched. Although it was so funny because my parents didn't take it seriously. They're like,
nobody took
us seriously. And it kind of irritated me because I was like, you know, here we are, we're having fun, you know, we're enjoying life. Two of the times that was absolutely silly, we bowled together. And that was kind of funny because Larry, her dad, and his step Cheryl also bowled in the league. And then there was one really stupid incident where Larry forgot that Sue had to go to work that day.
My dad is not the most reliable person sometimes.
So I got to play the Lone Ranger. At the time, I had an old 83 Jeep Wagoneer.
That poor car. We abuse cars so badly.
I fired this thing up on a lunch break, and I ran all the way out there. I honked the horn. I got her in the car, ran her back, and they still fired her. But
unfortunately,
that's when things really started to become very creative and very serious, because Larry's idea was, well, since we're not going to have two incomes, we're going to move. And that's when I popped the idea, well, tell you what, we can have you move in over here. And that's when we, or I should say I, effectively kidnapped my wife. Because Larry was busy playing cards. He loved to play cards. So we ran over to their place while he was out playing cards and started loading stuff into the back of our car. And what got crazy is that while we were loading stuff up, Brenda and her brother, Mike, happened to show up. And she agreed that, yes, let's get Sue out of Larry's, custody.
Mostly because I was 20, trying to do the math, 22?
Yeah, 22 or 23, 22 I think though.
I think it was 21, 22, somewhere in that area,
Yeah.
yes. And, well, he wasn't, I couldn't depend on him to get me where I needed to go. I didn't drive, I still don't drive, never learned how to drive. And so I needed a reliable source of transportation.
Yep. So, and then what really got funny is, after we left, less than 2 minutes later, Brenda told us, oh yeah, right after you guys left, Larry came around the corner. So needless to say, Larry was not very thrilled. Larry apparently also felt that for some reason I was sending pics to Sue, and I'm not sure where that came from, but
I have no idea.
I told him, no, that's definitely not me. In fact, I'll even let you search my hard drive if you'd like. So, needless to say, we kind of get along better now. I mean, we'll sit and talk in the same room. Sometimes we'll discuss football. But, he is an interesting fellow. It's kind of hard to describe him otherwise. But anyway.
Not without using verbs you probably shouldn't use on a public platform.
Exactly. So onward, as summer advanced, and Sue that fall started working as a bus monitor, I was still working at Spiegel, and we came to the conclusion to go ahead and get married. Now, what got interesting was the date that we chose, Friday the 13th.
Yes, people, we did it on purpose.
In October.
October was chosen mostly because there were 2 Friday the 13th that year, and we'd already missed the first one.
Exactly. But then,
and we're like, well, this one will do.
Yeah. What really got funny also is, this is part of the luck theory that we work off. My mom and dad both got married on a Friday the 13th in December, back in the 60s. It was either 68 or 69. I think it was 68.
I don't know.
But anyway, they're still happily married. They've been through, thick or thin, with me being sick all my lives. They still love each other dearly. And so I thought, why not tempt the fates? Friday the 13th. Of course, we didn't tell Larry until that same day that she was getting married. Because, well, I had heard from Jen that her grandparents weren't happy with me, and Larry wasn't exactly pleased because I didn't exactly ask for his permission. Brenda was thrilled. So,
I didn't care.
Sue was like...
I was never one who actually, cared about my parents' permission, mostly because they were not the most wonderful parents in the world.
Now, this is where it gets kind of cool and also kind of silly. Now, the night before the wedding, we'd already decided we were going to get it done at the gazebo out on Canyon Lake, which is a beautiful venue, and they have lights along the pathways. And so usually lights come on, it's beautiful, it's a great ceremony. Now,
it was a great idea.
Yeah. We'd planned, 6 o'clock we were going to have this go off?
Yes, we planned it.
Okay. Well, so I showed up at the lake at 4, just to play it safe. A few people started showing up. Most of them I recognized from church. A couple friends of the family showed up. We standed around and talked, and then all of a sudden people started showing up I never knew. Well, it turns out that day, another couple wanted to get married at 5. And so I thought, by all means, let's let them get married. They had a justice of the peace show up. And so they went with their ceremony, They got hitched. I never know if they stayed together or not.
I don't even know their names.
Yeah, not a clue. Maybe look in the digifiles or the microfiche for the Rapid City Journal. It might list them.
Maybe.
But anyway, so now it is. The wedding is done. I'm now wondering what happened to Sue.
Hey, I was on our way. I
know.
My sister and I decided to go to her house, which was in the valley at the time.
Uh-huh.
And we thought we had just enough time. I think we estimated it would be 30 minutes, so we headed out 45. She was doing my hair, which I never do my hair, so we should have known that this was going to be a bad idea to begin with. She's going to do my hair, and then we were going to head out, and we would get there just in time to walk down the aisle.
Right.
Unfortunately, there was traffic and construction, and so we were a little bit late. Just a little bit, though.
You almost beat the sundown. Almost. So meanwhile, it is getting black at the lake. Now, don't get me wrong. It was well attended.
It was very well attended.
We had a ton of senior citizens on this island, and it was getting cold. This is October, mid-October.
And it gets chilly on the water in October.
Because the breeze comes out of the Black Hills and kind of freezes everybody. So now here's where it gets kind of cool, though. And I dearly love my uncle for thinking. He ran out.
We didn't tell him what happened, why he had to run out.
Well, that's what I was going to lay into, is that, okay, while we were waiting for them to show up, I was like, it's almost black out here. The pathway lights hadn't come on.
We had checked. Mm-hmm. And the day before they were on at the time that we had decided to do this.
It was lit up like a runway.
It was dark as midnight. Because that didn't turn on the lights. For whatever reason.
Either I was thinking extremely loud or Uncle Danny was just thinking forethought. All of a sudden, bing! There is a lantern behind the pastor for the wedding. I'm like, this guy gets kudos.
He does. He definitely gets kudos.
Of course, if you've ever met my Uncle Danny, he is that sort of person. He probably even had a shotgun in the back of his truck just in case. Fight off the grizzly bears. But anyway, so we had the wedding and did the vows, and bless, he tried to sneak it in to make sure Sue would obey.
Never. I told you to take that out, and I took it out.
And you said no.
I said no. So I know obey.
Anyway, you may now kiss the bride. I present to you Joe and Sue Budd.
The lights came on.
Bing! All of a sudden, everybody could walk out off the island with light.
Why they came on at that time, I don't know. It was hilarious.
It was funny.
And of course, then on the way to the reception, it sprinkled a little bit, but not the heavy rain yet.
No, we saw lightning flash off in the distance. We went to the reception at the church, which was pretty cool. A lot of people attended there. We had it in orange and purple streamers,
which his mother detested. She tried to talk us out of it, but we were not having it. Purple is my favorite color, and
at the time, I thought it was uplifting orange.
It was either that or silver, and I think that would have been even worse. Because isn't that like a team?
Something is like Vikings or something.
Or something. And you're like, no, we can't do that because it will be the wrong thing.
Yeah. Then after the ceremony, we did the traditional cut the cake. We had a lady at the church who did this cake, and it was a cool looking cake.
It was a nice cake.
Nice and colorful. We recently just found a photograph that
which I will be posting.
We're cleaning. Yep.
I got a couple.
And somehow I've had some luck in trying to slow down aging. I'm starting to lose that ability though because I'm starting to turn gray. But after the reception, we stopped by Hardee's because we were both starving.
Because all we had at the reception was cake, and I think there were a few like snacky foods. Mm-hmm. But we did not have a buffet. We did not have a dinner. We were on a very small budget.
Yeah.
I think we spent less than $100, and I think most of that went to the cake. 50 of that went to the cake, and 50 of it went to the pastor.
Yeah. And to his credit, also, I did talk to one of my friends about a wedding, and he said the biggest thing to look at is that when you do a wedding, you can have a exorbitant, outlandish wedding and have a small budget to start with, or you can have a small wedding and have a decent budget to start with. We didn't have any budget, period.
No,
so,
we had no budget.
But,
and we're not extravagant people anyway.
So,
even if we had millions, I don't think we would have had that much more. We might have had a little bit of food.
Yeah. And we took and found a nice bed and breakfast in town that is no longer functional, sadly. That had a hot tub, had a huge 4-post bed, and that Monday it was kind of cool because I went to work and quite a few people congratulated me on getting married. You were not there. It was kind of funny because also when we went to bowling, the team was rather excited because the news had finally filtered all the way down to them. That we had snuck off and gotten married.
This is before social media.
Yes, long before.
We got married in 2000, and we wanted to do 2000. Well, I should say I wanted to do 2000. I don't think Joe really cared too much about the number because I figured it would make it a lot easier for me to do the math and figure out how long we'd been married.
Yeah.
Because math is not a skill I excel at. So I figured if we did it with a number that ended with 0, I could easily do the math and I would know exactly how long we've been married.
Well, my mom also, she was born in 1950. We were married in 2000. Everybody. And so, we got hitched. I started off joining Sue later that year after Spiegel did a thing called a time bank, which led to me being terminated right before Thanksgiving, which I felt was kind of cold. So I joined Sue for bus detail for a while. And
which was interesting.
Yeah. And then the following spring, we took a short time to try a card shop in Keystone, learned a lot.
Our successful failure.
Yes.
We succeeded to stay afloat and not go into further debt.
Yes. And then about the same time that the card shop was going on, David decided he wanted to take and join the world after the card shop was done. The interesting part for that, again, my parents don't believe a lot of things that are going on. So we stuck the surprise for them, for David, in their visor.
Yeah, we gave them a little I want to say gift card, but that's not it. But it was like a holiday birthday card thingy.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was a special college, but we got to the store, we bought a card, and we wrote in there, I can't even remember what we're going to be in there. I think it was you're going to be grandparents or
something to that
surprise.
And my mom was just flipped out.
They didn't believe us. Not until I was starting to show. And then they're like, well, I guess this is real.
I guess it's actually happening now.
Same thing with Angel. We did this, gave them a card again. And they're like, no, you're not yet. Because David had just been diagnosed with autism. And we were figuring that out. And it's been a very interesting ride.
Yeah.
We've had ups and we've had downs. We've gotten to 0 and fallen below the poverty line a bazillion times.
Yeah. We are proof that you can fight your way back out from the poverty line because we were on Section 8 and then we got out of it again.
Yeah, we were on food stamps for a lot of years. And then when we finally got to a point where David and Angel were old enough that one of us didn't have to be available. Mm-hmm. They could go to school all day and we didn't have to be available. It was easier for both of us to work. We were able to start getting back there, and we were really proud of the day that we did not have to have the state's help. And we were able to stand on our own 2 feet and say, we're kind of adults.
Yes. Took us more than a few years than most people, but we made it.
Kind of adults. I don't know if we'll ever get to the adult stage, but we were
Right.
kind of adults.
Yep. But anyway, so now the other one item that is kind of funny. One time I got a call because apparently a bud had a bill in collection from our hospital.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of weird. And she says, but you are married to a Sue Bud. Yeah, Sue Bud. Well, this says Susan Bud. No, I married a Sue Bud. Susan Bud was married to one of my cousins.
which was really weird and thingy, but a lot of times medical people like to add my middle name to my first name because legally my first name is just S-U-E, and that drives people insane because not too many people have just the short version. It's usually Susan, Suzanne, whatever, and my middle name is Ann, so they decided add the two together because reasons.
Yeah. Well, what really busted the thing wide open was I said, well, can you tell me the date and when this transaction happened? 1995. And
Wasn't
I'm like,
a bud yet.
Yeah, exactly. You've got the wrong bud then. They're like, what do you mean? Says, she didn't get married until 2000, guys. So real quickly, they pulled money off of that account and put it on Sue's regular medical bill. But but no, we got married in 2000. This will be our 22nd year on the 13th, which is coming up pretty quick. So be sure to wish Sue a happy anniversary to make up for the years that she didn't get it from Spiegel. But anyway, this is Joe, the bearded historian, with a little ancient history.
Ancient.
From the days of the dinosaurs. The bearded one. Have a good one, folks.
Good night.
Bye-bye.